My name is Dacia Durham. My oldest daughter is McKenzie Durham, and she's 9 years old. And then my son is 5 years old. His name is Wesley Durham. And my baby girl, Josie, is 1. He actually stayed in my room longer than either of my other 2 children, just because of his breathing problems that he had. A lot of respiratory issues that he had with breathing, and I really kept him in my room longer than I did my other 2 kids. I have to put safety knobs on my door handles so that he doesn't go outside or get into closets or toilets. He loves to play in toilets and to get into the pantry and steal food he eats all the time. So I have locks on everything in my house. I actually didn't find out that he had Down syndrome until he was 5 days old. I didn't know while I was pregnant with him. I didn't have the test done, so. I had to learn to depend on God, and I had to learn more patience. I had no patience whatsoever, and now I have to have lots. But God is my strength, and He gets me through it. So, Josie is too young to understand, so she really doesn't know. McKenzie, she's done pretty good with it.
I didn't know what Down syndrome meant when he was born. It was confusing, and I thought it was like he would be really, really, really different. I don't know how to explain it, but he would be different.
Probably the best advice that I could give would be to get online and read this poem. I think it's called Welcome to Holland. That kind of put the whole picture in perspective for me, and it's just a wonderful poem that this lady had wrote about having a child with special needs, and it talks about all her life how she had planned a trip to Paris. And she had learned the language, she had learned the sights, she had her whole itinerary plan and was looking so forward to going to Paris. But then when the plane landed, they said, "Welcome to Holland." And she was kind of frustrated because she said, "All my life I have waited for this trip to Paris. I have waited, I have learned the language, I have learned everything." And it was kind of in reference to, you know, all your life you plan to have this normal child. You never plan to have a child with a disability. And you always plan, oh, I'm gonna have this perfect little baby. And but then Holland actually represents the special needs child. And it says that if you get off the plane and you're angry because of the fact that you didn't get to Paris, and you don't take the time to stop and look at all the beautiful things in Holland, then you'll never really understand like just how special Holland is. So it just kind of, it's a very good poem, and that kind of put it in perspective for me. But I can tell you that having a child with Down syndrome is probably the most hardest, most rewarding things that I have ever done in my life. It is hard as a parent to sit back and watch your kids struggle at things. I have shed many tears watching my son struggle at simple things such as stacking blocks or drawing a line. I mean, he's 5 years old and he still can't draw a straight line or a circle. And so it's really hard to sit back as a mama, because you know you just want to put a Band-Aid on it and cover the boo-boo, and you know that's kind of a boo-boo I can't fix. But he is such a blessing to me and everybody else in my life, and you know he's a wonderful little boy. He's a wonderful little boy, and he teaches us about forgiveness. That's probably the #1 thing about my son, is that he teaches us about forgiveness, because any one of his friends or even his sister could walk up to him right now and just smack him in the face or push him down or call him a name, and within 2 seconds he looks at you and he forgives you already, and he'll say, "Come on, let's go play." So I had one of his heart doctors actually refer to me and tell me that the way that he looks at, the way that my son looks at me, or the way my son looks at everybody, is because he sees you for who you are, and he accepts you for who you are. He doesn't care about your past. He doesn't care about any of the bad things that you've done in your life. He loves you just the way you are, just like Jesus loves us the way we are. So that's kind of the whole reference.
I like when we go play in his room because we jump on the bed and we do flips. And when we go outside, he always says push, and I say, what do you say? He says